A little while ago, I remember listening to an interview by Joe Rogan with Louis Simmons. And in this interview, it was actually done at Louis' gym or warehouse or whatever. In this interview, they talked about a fair bit about steroids and performance-enhancing drugs. And obviously, Louis Simmons is a pro. Is pro drug use in sports. Basically, all of his lifters that he's trained have been on drugs. And so, in this interview, he basically gave a reason why he has the opinion that he has, which kind of resonated with me ever since then. I've kind of thought about it on and off. Basically, his stance is like this. Everyone is born with different amounts of physical potential. Some people are born with more testosterone than others. You know, they eventually have more testosterone in their prime age of life than other people. For instance, people from West Africa, on average, have by far the best testosterone counts than any other person in all the world. People of Asian descent have the lowest, and then everyone in between is kind of in between, right? Everyone falls. So his stance is, nature is unnatural. Nature is unfair. Why is it okay for somebody from West Africa to just be better at lifting, better at sports, because they're born in West Africa and you know, they're black and they have the genes that they do? I'm a white guy in America, he says, and I want to have the testosterone that somebody has naturally in West Africa. I remember hearing this for the first time, and I remember it being very challenging to me to kind of, you know, think through this, because he's right. Nature is unnatural. Nature is unfair, but nature is natural. You know, I mean, I don't have the stats on me, but okay. So West African people have high testosterone counts, so they have more, I guess, physical potential for, you know, power sports and whatever. But are they more skilled in, like, with dexterity? Are they more agile than other people? For instance, like when I think about the Asian people, I think about the smaller stature. They have different leverages, which we've kind of talked about in terms of squatting. You know, some people just have better leverages for certain lifts, right? So Chinese people have shorter femurs, you know, longer torsos. They're freaking squatting machines. I also think of Asian people really good, you know, with high dexterity of being, you know, shorter stature. They have ability to play, I guess, other sports really, really well. So across the board of human nature, there are advantages and disadvantages for everyone. You know, a 7-footer from Sudan isn't going to make a really good soccer player, is he? He's not going to be able to play center midfield and run down every single guy like Gattuso back in the day, or somebody like that, or Kante, right? You know, this short little guy, 5'5", covers 50 passes in the game, runs 15, 20 Ks during every game. You know, a 7-footer from Sudan is not going to be able to do that, right? So there are, you know, strengths and weaknesses that we all kind of get born with. So this idea of trying to play Mother Nature, trying to trick Mother Nature, trying to, you know, emphasize certain attributes, trying to kind of alter ourselves, it just, if you say to yourself that is okay, then where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? What does that mean for sport? What does it mean for sport? So somebody from, say, China or Russia or America, they're going to have the best sportsmen, right? Because they're generally the strongest countries in the world, and they're going to have the most amount of finances, the most amount of power, political leverage, to basically produce the best sporting athletes. If we just say everyone can dope, everyone can just go bonkers. You know, Uganda, I don't know, Serbia, Poland, I don't know, think about it, all the countries, Indonesia, like think about any country in the world that is not a superpower. How are they going to compete with these superpowers and their super scientists and the super investments and the super money and all that sort of stuff? What does that mean for sports? You know what I mean? It becomes a very difficult thing to ethically and morally process in your mind if we just say everyone can just dope. Because it's not just about testosterone. This is deeper than just how much testosterone you make. I just, you know, money is power. So if Russia spends $10 billion on research and development on performance enhancing drugs, and some guy in South Africa has no support from his state, who's going to come out on top, man? It just becomes this very negative kind of loop, downward spiral. And so I think that we shouldn't allow sports to go down that path. Even though it would be really cool to see these superhumans competing in sports, it will ruin sports as a whole. It would really ruin it, in my opinion. So when I hear Louis Simmons talk about this, it's like, you know, he says it's unfair that, you know, the West African people from West Africa have high testosterone counts. It's unfair. But is it fair that Chinese people have shorter femurs? Is that fair? We're going to start chopping up femurs now. So we're gonna tell these West African boys, you guys have testosterone, but let's get these surgeries where we just remove your femurs, we'll put a steel rod, that way you can score like the Chinese boys. In nature, there's going to be natural variation. We're all just are varied naturally, right? We all have our things. Some people have higher intelligence, some people have really good charisma, some people will be able to speak to anybody. Anybody that comes in the room, they'll be able to speak. Some people are introverts, extroverts, and so on and so on. And this is part of life. This is the beauty of life. So when somebody like LeBron James comes along, who is 6'8", 6'9", can run, can jump, can pass, can shoot, can do everything, it is a marvel. And it's a beautiful thing. Nature's produced him. And on top of that, he's got the work ethic of a maniac. He's outworking everybody, even though he's been gifted the most. So it's just the way it is. So I always feel negative towards people trying to manipulate these natural things in life. I feel it doesn't rub me up the right way. Of course, I'll never be able to play better basketball than LeBron James. It is what it is. But I know, like, if in my mind, if I know that LeBron James is a clean athlete and he's just worked hard for what, you know, with what he has, and he beats me, I feel good about that. But if I know in the back of my head that he has had unfair advantages, nature is fair. It's fair. He's been given what he's been given. Simple as that. I haven't been given that, but maybe I have something that he doesn't have. It's just, it can't be monetized in this sport. That's kind of where I stand with this. Like these, you know, arguments that, you know, Louis like, I want to be the best in the world and I haven't been given the right tools, so I'm going to kind of get the right tools. It just doesn't sit well with me, man. It doesn't sit well with me. Like, I appreciate people who have taken drugs, who are taking drugs, who speak out and kind of let their voices be heard. I appreciate that. I don't really have a grudge towards these people who are kind of open about their use, because I think it's really healthy to kind of have these conversations. What I don't like is the fake naturals, the people who are taking substances, performance enhancing drugs, and are hiding it, and then are selling a product to the audience, telling people this is possible naturally. That drives me up the wall. That makes me really uncomfortable. So, you know, what is it? What's that YouTube channel? More Plates, More Dates. I watch his channel sometimes. I think it's a really cool thing that, you know, he talks about this stuff. I mean, I would never, you know, go down the path of taking drugs, but I think it's a positive channel in the sense that the guy's actually talking about drug use, both positive and negatives, and it's out in the open. I'm sick of this secretive hush-hush bullshit, man. I'm sick of it. I want everyone to know the facts, and then if you are a 20, 25-year-old, fully formed individual, understands the risks and the benefits, and you decide to take the path that you want to take, then it's all on you, man. But this idea of hush-hush, hiding, no information, people going down the path of not knowing, that's my problem. Especially with some of these people who are on social media, who have a massive following, and who are basically misleading people into thinking this is what's happening. I find that really, really difficult to deal with, and I don't like that. Like I don't have an issue with drugs per se if people are open about it, because the cards are out. The cards are on the table. We know exactly what they're dealing with and what's happened. Like Larry Wheels, right? We all know that he's a supreme athlete. He was naturally really good and decided to do this. He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. And there's no mistaking how he got there. Like, you know, his path is clear. But then other people who are going into these competitions and passing drug tests and telling people wrong things and all this sort of stuff, that doesn't sit well with me. Because these people are cheats. That's the trouble. I think I respect Louis Simmons. I really do. I think Louis Simmons is one of these people who basically given their whole life, you know, for his art. You know, the man's literally given up his whole life to powerlifting. He has come up with all these different pieces of equipment. The guy is a mastermind. And he's a joy to listen to. Anybody that's kind of devoted their whole life to a given craft, he's a pleasure to listen to. Even though I disagree with him on his stance with steroids, I respect him because he's open about steroids. And all of his boys said, you know, it's clear that the people have taken steroids. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with all those boys who are doing it and who are open about it and who are educating people about it. It's these assassins, these backdoor guys who are in the shadows that I kind of don't like, especially the guys that are trying to make money out of it. That really bugs me, because at the end of the day, man, like with big followings, with big influence, you know, if you're a big influence on the society, comes responsibility. You know, I was once a 15-year-old guy. I remember how gullible and naive I was, and I was part of that, you know, gym bro guy who came in not knowing anything and just following kind of the trend. So I know how easy it is for somebody to get tripped up and to go down the path of drugs and then have irreversible damage down the path. And only if he had the right information at the start, if he had the right influence from the right people, maybe he wouldn't have gone down that path. I just think way too many people are informed, and channels like More Plates, More Dates, Louis Simmons, and there's many others who, like Rich Piana was the first guy that I ever heard of who spoke about this sort of stuff. I praise those guys. Like you know, they've gone down the path that I don't like, but they're educating people. You know, it's in the forefront, and these people I respect. Anyway, this is basically going on from yesterday's video. I spoke about some comments are happening. We're having really cool discussions. You know, it's a hot topic right now. It seems like for the last few years, there's all these different agents that are coming out, and people are considering. There's so much going on. Like, I feel like drug use is going through the roof, and I think the more we discuss it, the more people are aware of it, the more right decisions I think will be made. Anyway, today hit 140 for one. You'll see it here. Basically, I still kind of feel not right. Still have a cough. Still not feeling 100%. But I think I'm getting closer. So I've got a night shift tonight, which is not exactly good for your mental health or your physical health. But I'm going to try and kind of come out this other end of this night shift. And then maybe tomorrow I'm going to start kind of ramping up work. Some working sets. Basically, the source of this illness, I think, is my kids. My boy is going to kindy. And if you guys have kids, if you guys have had kids, you will know that kindy is basically a cesspool of disease. These kids are all going that snotty, and it's just you know, my boy brings something to me home every single day. So I feel like I've gotten sick once, and I've gotten sick again in the same span of like 10 days. So I need to be very, very careful the next few weeks how I train. I really want to go after it. I really want to like smash it out, but I feel like, you know, winter's here in South Australia. So I need to be very, very careful how I approach training. I really want to get after it, but I really don't want to get sick. So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of like, this whole month has been a waste, really. It's frustrating, but anyway, like, such is life. I have to kind of be smart about it. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.